April 26, 2023, and 9 o'clock at the Marshall County Sheriff's Office. Notice to the public: the Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You're requested to state your name for the record and limit your time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process is that on any agenda item, the chair is to read the item on the agenda. The board is given the opportunity to comment on the issue and or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate and the roll call vote will follow. We get a roll call on our attendance today.
Kyle.
Here.
Slauson.
Here.
Hibbs. Here.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we need approval of the agenda, and I know we need to amend number 6 off. I don't know if there's any other amendments today.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda, removing item number 6.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Slauson.
Yes.
Hibbs. Yes.
Onto the consent agenda. 5A, approved minutes of regular session, April 12th, 2023. 5B, approved claims as audited. Approved claims audited and authorized the auditor recorder to issue payment of the same. Listing of claims paid at this meeting and all claims being paid in the current month will be published as part of the first meeting of the following month. 5C, file manure management plans. Caleb Applegate, ID 69350 at 1757 Underwood Avenue, Marshtown. No changes. PI 133, ID 67102 at 1444 148th Street in Clemens with no changes.
With change.
Oh, with changes. Thank you. Print is rather small here. So with changes. The PI 295 ID 65971 1670 10th Street Clemens with changes. PI 296 ID 65970 1806 on 70th Street Clemens with changes. There'll be personal changes for 5D, 5DI. Conservation seasonal temporary workers, approved new hires, seasonal temp, Conservation Board Wyatt Benson, paid $12 an hour on or after May 10th, 2023, with an ending date of August 31st, 2023. Approved new hire, seasonal temp, Conservation Board Julie Stahl at a pay of $15 an hour on or after May 24th, 2023, ending date of October 31st, 2023. Approved new hire seasonal temp, Conservation Board Bill Carey, pay $15 an hour on or after May 10th, 2023, with an ending date of August 31st, 2023. Finally, approved new hire seasonal temp, Conservation Board Hunter Hewlett, pay $12.50 per hour on or after May 10th, 2023, with an ending date of August 31st, 2023. That is the end of the consent agenda. We have a motion.
So Chair, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed.
I'll second that.
We have the motion second. Do we have any discussion?
Yes, Emily, are some of these folks new for you?
One. We only have one new hire, all the others are returning.
Okay.
Yeah. The Wyatt Benson is returning, and he is a East Marshall senior that will be attending the University of Montana in wildlife and College of Agriculture. So yeah, so we're excited to have him. But Julie and Bill have returned. Julie's been on our staff for many years. Is returning, and Bill's returning.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to have people come back. That way we don't just start all over.
Continuity is very good. Great. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Swafford.
Yes.
Hibbs. Yes.
On to number 7, approve 28E agreement between Marshall County Sheriff's Office and the City of Melbourne regarding law enforcement agreement. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 28E agreement between Marshall County Sheriff's Office and the City of Melbourne regarding law enforcement effective April 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and authorize the chair to sign.
I'll second.
Great, we have a motion, a second. Any discussion on this?
Anything you want to say, Joe?
No, I just, Chief Mike Ball retired a little unexpectedly and planned December of 2022. He moved things up, retired in September. I was contacted by Mayor of Melbourne, Cynthia Mansayer, about contracting law enforcement. And they were going to take application. It's like everyone law enforcement in administration, it's hard to fill those roles. So then they had a couple applicants and they felt it was best to forward contract with the sheriff's office. We look forward to providing services to citizens of Melbourne. And I think that we could connect to some of their concerns. Move forward.
Thanks. Any other discussion? Thank you, Sheriff. There's a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Kyle.
Yes.
Swafford.
Yes.
Hibbs. Yes.
On to number 8, the Benford Avenue stop signs discussion, possible staff direction.
I just talked to Paul out in the parking lot just a moment ago. And
Paul's on the parking lot?
he's in the parking lot. He's involved in another meeting right
Okay.
now. So I think we need him for this one. And I'm not aware of the situations.
So should we
So,
wait?
yes.
Yeah.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay, we'll wait on that then.
Well, then we'll need them for the next item as well, probably. Well, I know the first concern I know he had was, he was saying, is the stop sign just for at the intersection of, what is it, 145th? And Benford, is it just for that, coming from the west or east? At the T, or is it south stops?
Remind me where Benford is.
It's the west of Larkberry, the road that goes past 72.
Okay.
Benford. There's already a stop sign in west.
At the T.
And so this would be,
This would, I think the intention was to slow truck traffic down, right?
That was the spirit
Yeah,
of the conversation. Stops.
especially during hailage and silage.
Yeah, in Storage County, they don't have a whole lot of control intersections on secondary roads. And like all the kids really speak for him, but Morris County does a really good job, but there are some intersections. And I think with the changes in the operation in that area, traffic volume is increased considerably during those hard pieces.
James, can you show me the exact corner? Is it at the end of that T?
Are you looking for 245th and Bedford?
145.
100.
Or is it? No.
There's that.
245?
Okay.
Yeah. 145. 245, yeah. Okay.
and Paul in his comments, he was not necessarily in favor of stop signs going north-south of that intersection, but there is already a stop sign that on 245th.
Yeah,
Entering
they're
Benford.
entering and stopping, but I think the concern was how fast trucks go down that road.
Yeah.
Sheriff, do you have any comment on that?
I wasn't able to connect with our RMS. I don't know, I'm not aware of any accidents or crashes at that intersection. And I think the spirit of that conversation is to slow down some of the traffic. Stop sign. That definitely would.
Yes.
Stop sign.
Yeah.
Volume, I don't know what's the volume would actually be in that area, that actually think the data sample. It's like, oh, it's
Already done. Sign talk.
yeah, science.
Okay, just give us your thoughts. As far as the stop sign goes, we're talking about stopping westbound 245th at Bedford, right?
But and that's uncontrolled,
That T,
not a stop sign.
it's an uncontrolled intersection right now, yes. And we have, I wouldn't want to say how many dozen uncontrolled T intersections we have in the county. Most of our T intersections with rock are uncontrolled.
So to me, it would make sense that if they're coming from the dairy, they would stop there. On that.
And that's what we would sign.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's not the north south.
we would not be stopping in Bedford, no.
Was it? Was that the, from our last meeting, can anyone refresh me, was a concern of having a stop sign for Benford as well? Is that,
I
was
think,
that brought
I
up?
think John mentioned the fact that trucks coming out of that road don't stop, and there have been some near accidents, I think is what he was talking about.
So therefore having a stop sign.
On 245, yeah.
Does John live there? Who's he lives?
Tad,
Yeah.
Richard Tad.
Okay. Have they?
Which one is Jones?
John is the,
The next up?
yeah, right there.
Yeah.
No, you were across.
That's Alan.
Yeah,
That's John.
John Allen.
Sorry.
But I think his comment was as trucks are coming on to Benford from 245th. It
They're
was, they
yielding
need
instead of
to,
stopping.
if that, if they're yielding, yeah. So. They would be better if they had a full stop sign.
Would you suggest doing one stop sign on one side of the road, or would you do two stop signs on both sides?
I don't think doubles is gonna add anything to that. There's, I usually I don't go to the double stop signs unless I'm stopping pavement where there wasn't a stop before, because, and we're gonna experience that north of LaGrand here later this summer too. And not to derail this conversation,
Yeah.
location. This doubles, we can go with the doubles, but there's no way you're gonna approach that intersection and not see stop sign. 36-inch stop sign.
Do you have any thoughts? Yes, no recommendation?
Oh,
This?
no, I agree with the truck traffic coming from the dairy and the expansion, it's justified.
But
It's good enough for me.
I think it's a great start for out there, and those that live out there will continue to monitor it. They'll let us know, and we'll just keep an eye on it. But I think it's a good start of the situation out there as they continue to progress and grow out there at the dairy farm. But I think this was a simple first easy step for us to do.
I'll use the same resolution format that we used in the past, and we haven't established a new stop sign for a few years, but I'd say it'll be the same language referencing the code sections that give you the authority to establish stop approaches.
We can do that in our next meeting and
Yeah.
officially do it.
Mhm.
All right. I don't necessarily think we need to have a motion for that direction.
Yeah, Paul can.
Proceed.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Any other questions, comments on that? All right, on to number 9, the Green Mountain Area Engine Brake Signs discussion and possible staff direction. Steve, I think this was, you want to go back to?
have this put on.
Yeah.
John from Green Mountain approached me again here in the last couple of weeks. Still having issues with engine brake noise in that area. I guess I'm back to thinking that I'd like to see some signs there for those folks. I guess it's as simple as that. Interesting discussion.
Do you recall the number of people that signed that petition that they presented to the board?
I'd be guessing. I thought it was 20.
And I think my first question would be does there have to be, we'd have to have an ordinance for the signs to be enforceable?
That's right. He's not asking for it to be enforced. He's just wanting the signs. I think a lot of these are trucks that are coming into JBS. I think signs would have effect.
What do you think?
If I can add, is John providing numbers of trucks in the how long? I mentioned previous meeting. 1407 construction. I don't risk it on it's actually increased or increased. I don't know.
It's evidently continued is again.
The issue I have would be with a sign, obviously, it'd be an unenforceable sign. Pretty soon, see reports from citizens if it is being violated, why aren't we doing anything? You have to remind it's unenforceable. Sign is a sign. I don't know or not. I don't. A lot of my concern is with those unincorporated areas. Where do we stop? For enforcement, if it does lead to it becomes very difficult to enforce. We have that specific area. We have 575 square miles of activities. That could be it. Are we going to sit? And it's not a really good place to sit. We can break ordinances, and we already have contract towns that do have those ordinances. I don't think my history of the sheriff's office that we issued a citation for any breaks, even though some signs are up. So whether they're doing it good or not, corporate areas, I can't. But and then from the prosecution side of that, there's some case law. Or we have the county get upon that. It's expresses that. Or
How many do we have to count
for
ordinances that?
Now there'd be counting State Center and Marshtown 13. And there's similar ordinances, state code, they kind of hear that. I've talked to DOT, they've had success in some other communities enforcing those. We're fairly rural and spread out. I'd almost have, my concern would be how often is this a perceived problem? Is it, yeah, they're allowed sort of motorcycles and cars, kind of where do we stop? With the other 9 unincorporated communities, is that going to be the next? Is it going to be town spiral, or what are the unintended consequences? Just things like that.
I guess we're the only ones that can speak for Green Mountain since they're unincorporated. So I'd sure like to accommodate them if we could. And I don't want it to ever go to having to be enforced. That could be the same. Yes.
Are there any ordinances in the county that's not in one of the towns? Or if we did an ordinance, would it have to be countywide? Can you piece it out on a particular area?
You can list that by areas. A lot of them are intersections, roadways, first mile, Green Mountain to the second mile of wall. So it can be sectioned out in specific areas. Fulton County has a lot of those that are highly popular. There you see some section out.
Oh, I think you mentioned it takes about $600 to put a sign like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's just an estimate. Well, like part.
$1,200 project, we put one at each end. That community, starting maybe at the school. Is that where you can put it?
It's not really an engineering issue. This is it's the social, civil thing. And yeah, you can put them where the speed limit changes is what usually would actuate would propagate the use of them.
The school is out. Is it still 55?
It's a regular
It's
speed
a-
limit.
If you drop,
That's
Dropping already
by
at the school.
yeah, no matter what.
Like, we've talked to the school officials to see if they would be available during season. Off school hours, when school's not in session, on raising that speed limit, we get something that breaks for that a long period of, or a long distance for that area. Sound like they would pay for that. So it's kind of where that's thinking.
I'd feel more comfortable if we were putting signs up, we had an ordinance. And at the same time, I'm not sure. I wasn't on the board yet when they first came to us. So I'd be curious to hear more from the citizens of the Green Mountain Incorporated area, if it's truly wanted by them. And if it's truly wanted by them, then I think we just do an ordinance to do signs. And that makes sense, if that's what is preferred by the residents of that area. So maybe a more formal process of doing a mailer to all those that live in that area, requesting feedback of their opinion on an ordinance or not. And if their response is that they want an ordinance, I would be in favor of putting in an ordinance and having the signs. So at least they're known as being enforceable instead of right now, for me, talking signs that are enforceable. It's what can be very well hoping on as unenforceable suggested signs. And I think for it to be the cleanest, I think we would want to have an ordinance.
And that puts the monkey back on the sheriff's department. Writing tickets.
Yeah, well, I mean, and at the same time, like they said, they have not written one that they're aware of that it has been an issue. So I think if it's enforceable and the people driving through there know it's enforceable, they're probably not going to do it. And if they do, they're risking, just like any other behavior that the public does. They know for doing something that's outside of the rules and laws, they know they're at risk. What's your thoughts on if we actually did an ordinance?
If there was an ordinance, we could obviously enforce that. That's just being at the right time, the right place. Are we gonna have a deputy sitting in that area at 27 most likely? Yeah, to do our other obligations with the county. But yeah, if there's an ordinance with willful.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I prefer not have a sign that's not enforceable. So I guess my preference would be that if we feel we need to do something to address the issue, that we would probably begin establishing the ordinance so that the sign then has some backing to it. To be in favor of that.
Seems like it should be a little simpler than that, I guess. Just you don't feel that people acknowledge a sign.
If there's just a sign up and someone violates them, we'll still use the range of brake. We cannot initiate a traffic stop and be able to stop because we know what's in it.
You can't go around.
So
Right.
you just watch it go by.
Is it worth trying it for a while?
I'd just be concerned with sort of can of worms to open up if we have a sign and we don't have any sort of ordinance or any sort of regulation that affects that accident. Essentially, it would say engine brake or engine braking prohibited, but that wouldn't be true. And I would just be concerned about that. I think the potential for unforeseen consequences. that come. We have a sign.
And if you do look at a resolution, you'll have to consider language, whether it's going to be decibel level, which requires decibel meters, distance, so many decibels at a set distance. There's other factors need to be figured out with that too. And then obviously we don't have decibel meters, that's something that we have to acquire if that was language in a resolution or ordinance.
Why don't we just drop this for now?
We can look back and see how many signed. I think there was way more. And I can't find it's in there somewhere. We'll have to ask you.
I mean, if it's a major issue of the citizens in Green Mountain, I think the proper way to do it is in an ordinance.
I agree.
So I mean, I don't want to drop it if it's a concern of theirs. And I think maybe a public hearing discussing whether it's wanting to have a ordinance out there. And then we can have all of our ducks in a row with all the decibel stuff. So we know exactly what we're getting into to do it right.
So the trucks are going to JBS, most of them. Is that
I think that's what Mr. Ward expressed a lot of.
what they indicated? And we're coming a certain route coming down that road. So I guess I'm wondering, is that a specific company, trucking company?
I believe that he reached out to JBS, and obviously they're not controlling the truck traffic anymore. So drive through Iowa Select. I don't know whether it reached out to them or not, or they posted to their drivers, look, this is a complaint. So JBS is a good community partner.
I mean, if I would select hogs, then maybe there's a specific company that we could also reach out to address the issue with their truckers.
And with the harvest season, the local agreement, I don't, that's a local issue or some commercial vehicles that are out of the area.
Can you got the code for logic plant there during with ammonia going in and out? So this time of year fall as well.
I remember writing a joint mention about signs east and west and north and south. Lots of avenues, but it's not. And that was one of my concerns. And we set a specific area, starts to grow, starts things.
I'm surprised there hasn't already been more requests for it. Just from what the conversation that we had. Hasn't been anybody else approached over as their other locations. As far as I mean, that reached out to me.
Well, what do you want to do?
I guess I would prefer to use the which found in origin. As opposed to an unenforced something. Those are the two options. So it's do nothing. Establish an ordinance with a set area or and the sign or an unenforceable.
That would mean a decibel meter in every patrol car.
It would depend on that. That's engine brakes are fairly definable. Not like a passenger car would be running brake. Be louder. So and I could come up with some. I think Sherry actually submitted a couple of policies for in other areas, and I can submit some examples. How far does support?
I looked into the state center one and I don't think that was decibel based. I think it's just if it's audible from a certain, like, and you can tell it's an engine brake. Anybody with ears can say that's an engine brake.
That would be a legal definition.
And I don't know. And that's what I just remember when I read on the state center ordinance.
Without a meter of this subjective.
Yeah.
Each individual.
I'd make a motion that we not do anything with this at this time.
We'll table it for remain on the agenda. Every,
Every meeting. I'm not even interested in table.
So do you have the motion to do anything?
I don't think we do.
Okay,
Are you interested in pursuing an ordinance?
I am not at this time.
Are you interested in seeking more feedback from anyone from Green Mountain?
I would be interested in hearing from others. John's been the only one that's ever reached out to.
I will try to get the signed,
I'd like to see the petition.
yeah, see the petition that they signed and I'll get
It should be in our, we should have that petition.
I'll have Sherry find it. I'm sure it's somewhere.
and I guess I would like to see if we did it, what would you recommend? So, okay, Jordan, Joel can talk about that. If we did it, what would be good language? Let's consider.
Certainly. I don't think we really have to motion to do that, right?
No,
Right.
no,
We can for fun.
no, that's not.
All right. All right, on to number 10, the public forum. Time set aside for the public with comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda, and no action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in public forum. Anybody?
I would like to share the meeting that was supposed to be tonight, but the scholarship's been moved to 11, so that's just been pushed out. One of our trustees was having trouble getting through the 140 applications. So it's a big problem. So we're just moving that out to May 11th, and I've communicated with the courts and they're all fine with that since it's after hours.
I'm speaking for Kim here a little bit. She has concerns about the legislation that's maybe coming up at the State House here that involves emergency or 911. I can't give any details on it at this time.
Was that the email she sent
And she
yesterday?
sent the email yesterday and I haven't read it yet. So
I think it's about something with their levy rate or something. Being split out, if I remember correctly.
it sounds like the 911 emergency management people are not in favor of this. That's what she's conveyed to me. So
Is that a percent plan or the house?
you know,
I assume it's one of the tax reformed items.
I believe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is one of them.
29C proposed changes to 29C.
Senate File 352.
Is that the same one that cuts the library levy as well?
That's a good question.
A lot of the concern that Kim has is the commission accepting maintenance fees for public safety radio system that the next couple of years are manageable. I think it's around 50,000. It's out of my end. It's when we start running into year 5, 6, 7, 8, where it's up around 200,000 for maintenance fees. Obviously, the levy rate would have to increase. I think we're at 63, 65%, but usually boundary. So those would be the concerns. The living ability, BMA, to be able to support 911 and certain applications.
Is that also the one where they also have the same governing body as my conference board? They basically, the conference board is the overall governing body of that.
Yes.
That passes.
And this looks like it's specifically just for local emergency management. This bill, it's not tied into the other legislation.
So there's a total of 3 votes on the commission.
Yeah, it'd be the supervisors, the mayors, and the school boards. So it'd be the same thing.
Well, it sounds like now with legislature, they got a lot of sorting out to do it. The House, Senate, and Governor are kind of not on the same page on a lot of the property tax discussions. So we'll see if they go beyond this week. I think this week's supposed to be the end of session. So I guess anybody's guess is as good as anybody's right now. So
Have you reached out to Senator Edwards?
And both Kim and I have, quite sure what's gonna happen, some of our concerns. It's the restructure of the board. It will be challenging. But it's for certain.
Would make you the permanent chair
Yeah. Yeah, with a non-voting,
with no vote.
with the
Yeah.
addition of school board. Districts. The explanation I got was that since they are already in the body, they have their own. They requested to be put on that commission or that board because they have experience. I'm not exactly sure how or the theory. And I think this with the new school safety regulations, that might be a way to support that. Yeah, that's just my.
But it becomes the only way to fund emergency management.
And then ultimately that commission would be emergency management director's boss.
On another subject,
Well, I have one more question. So did Senator Edwards say where he stood on this?
I think he was in support of it from what I'm gathering.
Okay.
please,
Yes.
do we see some major changes coming from the state on assessing property?
I haven't heard much more on the assessment side. It seems to be more on the tax side of it. So what it sounds like. I think there's some legislation out there talking about only being able to do 103% raise on taxes. So you'd only be able to raise the taxes up 3%. It's kind of what I'm reading. I haven't gone through that much. I've heard they talked about doing a homestead exemption and a military exemption, but that would probably be backfilled by the state, would be my guess. And who knows how long that would be backfilled for, and that might then come on to us in the future is kind of what I've heard conversations and rumblings about, but haven't read into that much. I've seen it a little bit on our legislative updates. Been very busy with informals and stuff this month, so I haven't had much time to look on the legislation side of things. But it seems more on the tax side of things that they're trying to
The tax side of it, they're at the gathering information phase is what they're saying. But I haven't heard any outreach for how they're gathering that information.
Because it also sounds with that bill that I think I'm kind of talking about, you have to send out letters to every single taxpayer if there's an increase in taxes. If I
Yes.
remember correctly. And I think that is kind of what the Iowans for tax relief, what that group has been requesting the legislator have done. I know Iowans for tax relief, they've had been talking with legislators the past few years. They first started talking with assessors, kind of ongoing legislation. So I know that was one of their first provisions that they've been voicing on some of their stories on taxes. So I'm not sure where everything's going. I'm not sure how the state feels about it.
And but when they talked about the letters, getting the letters out prior to the property tax statement. So isn't the statement like the communication? Because we wouldn't know it until we're
I know.
close to that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't know how that would work, especially because I don't know when you get everyone's levies and how that's all done in
About
your
the same
office.
time. It literally. We'd be sending out two mailings at the same time. So we'd be doing. So that
Seems unnecessary.
Well, to me, I would think they'd have to push somehow push the tax bill when taxes are paid back, so. Cause I think with that, they have a public hearing or something like
They've
that.
got
within
some,
30 days.
yeah, they've got some recourse, so it would almost move the timing of when property taxes are due, which would impact a lot of cash flow for a lot of people. That would impact all the levying bodies' cash flow, literally.
And that's only how I perceive that maybe being
That's the
done,
way
but that's just me.
And that was kind of what I read into it too, but then, you know, when I was at ISAC and talking about the legislative pieces of that, how that's gonna flow. There's people that know enough about the system to know that's not gonna work because of schools and cities, and they can't wait for the money. That just doesn't really work. It's gonna be an interesting ride to sit here and watch
Or
this.
it's all to be done at budget time, because you'll know what your assessments are. And so you know what that growth is, and if you can't go beyond 3,
3 or 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah,
That's one of the proposals, 8% commercial on the House proposal. So if you know what that is, you kind of know your parameters at budget time, that's the line that we're not going beyond. And I know what the legislature is doing is they cap their growth spending at 2.5% for years. And that's their claim to fame of why revenues are so high in the state and why the state of Iowa finances are so good. And so as they've seen what's going on with property taxes and everyone's complaining about property taxes, that's the reasoning for wanting to cap that. And they're probably going to argue 3.5. We're allowing you to spend more than what we've been. I know that's the angle that they're going to have. At the same time, there is local control. I do believe there should be that allows us to go beyond that if it's necessary. But yeah, but the fact that the House and Senate are that far apart.
the other issue is kind of all the costs that are being pushed off on the county that are actually state expenses and how that is gonna come in to play with that, you know. Yeah, I could stay at 2.5% too if I made Carol pay for everything. You know, that really makes it a lot easier,
Well,
so.
it's Carol and not me.
But I think we're gonna hear a lot more about this when we spent a lot of time in the auditors group really digging into this, and there's a lot of different angles. The folks that work with them are saying they're hearing all sorts of things.
Do you see this having any effect on the project that we've got coming up with the assessor's office, the
I don't see it.
reevaluate?
Because it seems like it's more on the levy rates and then instead of making the homestead credit higher, doing an exemption as well as the homestead credit is kind of how I understood it. And I think they were wanting to do that at like $4,000. Then they were doing a military one. I think that was even higher than that. I think that was closer to 8 or 10. I'm not sure. That's just going off my head from what I quickly read through an email during busy time this month. And the last time that those credits, I think, were even updated were in the 80s.
I love a fat gray haired guy's exemption.
But
I'm looking for an excuse to not do that $5 million project.
it's not 5 million.
It's not 5.
No, it's 2.3.
2.3.
We're just doing it over, what is it, 5 years, saving that money to do it.
Yes.
And that's we should be doing it every 6 per our manual, and National Association is every 10. So
Is it just city and county that is not allowed to go above that 3.5? So is your office exempt from that?
I would have no idea.
I don't think they've even said. I wondered about even the community college, you know, there's.
I wondered, I was like, is it gonna be every tax authority, is it just gonna be certain ones? I only read the quick synopsis on those ISAC legislative emails.
I'm guessing they haven't determined. That's kind of what Jamie Cashman, we were talking. There's so many things.
And I haven't heard from our association's kind of legal legislative committee. I haven't heard much from them, but could be because they were busy and inundated with it as well. But I'm not quite sure where that's going. I think, like Jared said, I think they're kind of trying to plan this week as the last week for the session. So I hope we'll see what happens, and I guess we'll have to react from there. So that's going to change that probably quite a bit. with any new changes that come through with that. So we'd have to get on that as soon as that happens too, once we get direction from the state. and how that goes. And I don't know if that's gonna affect all offices or just hers or what.
I'm guessing it'll affect the real estate is all connected, so I'm sure it will have a little bit of effect in all the modules, because we'd hate to only have effect in one module. When we could do them all. I do have one more piece. I have been contacted by both the Laurel Mayor, the Laurel Fire Department, and then I have reached out to the Jefferson Township clerk and their unofficial chair, their trustees. And I'm gonna probably need one board of supervisor that's willing to attend some meetings to assist them in getting their budget and kind of work through some of their fire issues. I may also try to go, I just don't know when they have it, I'll be available. So if we can have somebody from the county to go sit in, because there's just having some issues and needs some help here from the county. So I didn't know if one of you, if anybody was sat in on any trustee fire meetings before. I have, because I was formerly a township clerk, so that makes it easy, but I'm just nervous in case I'm not available if one of you volunteer.
Would Jared be the most qualified for that?
Because of my location.
Probably would.
Yes.
Or if that's worse because you are in that area, I don't know. Because that's not your fire department for you at home. Okay. Because then it's,
I'm Jefferson Township, but that's in the Haverhill.
you're in the Haverhill Fire. That's what I thought you were. So
I can do that if.
Because they're saying, when are they?
I don't know when they're gonna meet. And that was my,
Probably Monday nights is usually.
it would be one meeting. So, and maybe some follow-up. So I will just reach out to you, and if it doesn't work out, I just think we'll probably need somebody there. They didn't want to meet with the fire department and get any information, so we're kind of, I've explained what they need to do and to get that information, and we're proceeding on. And
If it doesn't work for you, I will be your back.
thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. I just
Be
nervous.
your backup.
Okay. I will be here, back up to the back.
Great, thank you.
I have a couple quick things. I attended the downtown stakeholders meeting with the city, and they talked about how the kind of reconstruction of Main Streets and North Center and just South Center are going to tie into their downtown master plan. They have some ideas for around the courthouse. They want to do angled parking around the courthouse. We did talk about they will be coming to a supervisors meeting, get something on the agenda. They want to talk about they potentially need 2 to 4 feet of the west side of our property to move them for angled parking. I don't see that as much of an issue, but they also want to. There's some discussions about back-in angled parking rather than a drive-in angled parking. And I think they want to maybe give that a test run on the east side of the courthouse. So I think that would probably be another agenda item that be coming to us about. So heads up there.
How many public spaces are on the east side?
20.
Some are reserved.
Yeah, we have 13 reserved for us. That was another thing that they had questions about is when did that happen? How did that happen?
Is it changing?
I don't think it's changing. No, I was always told that we bought those spaces, but it's not.
I think it was
It's
maybe
not
when
like
it's change of
yeah.
land.
It's not like listed as a parcel that we own, so it's kind of funky. We need to do some research on what's going on there. Also, another quick thing is before we move back into the courthouse, since we have 2 members on the board, you guys to review the building policy just to see if there's any changes that you want to make. I have some grants here, so that I can give to Jared and Steve. So kind of read through that and just say, all right, hey, like, this is the direction we want to go. Or, you know, where do you want to make changes before we show them?
Anybody else today?
I just want to make it known that I appreciate my staff and we had a very busy month, and I just want to know that I appreciate my staff and the work that they did this month. We had over, I think our final number was 187 informals. That's quite a bit. I don't think in my 2 years or two kind of sessions before this I've done that we've even had anywhere close to that. So I'm very glad with the work they've done. And I think we're already around 40 informals, and that time period's coming up on around May 1st, is the day that they have to get the formals into us. Typically it's April 30th by end of business day, but that falls on the Sunday, so they get that extra day.
You said you're at 40 right now.
Around 40. I was at 30 before yesterday, and I don't know how many I got yesterday. So I'm estimating 40.
All right.
Busy times in the assessor's office. Thanks, Denise. Anybody else?
My name is Rachel Buchanan. I'm the director of the Animal Rescue League in Marshalltown. Jared and I spoke yesterday. And we're attending as part of our leadership Marshalltown, of course, but I also have a little bit of a stake in things. I believe we're on the agenda for the next meetings. Me and I have spoken with a few people from the sheriff's department as well about renegotiating the contract with Marshall County. Right now we serve as the Marshall County Pound and a portion of the Animal Patrol. So I just wanted to put out there that be there next week, and I'm putting together some numbers and some reports I'd like to speak with the sheriff after reports, if that's okay. And yeah, it needs updating. The last contract we signed was 2009. So
It's been a while.
We'll figure something out next time.
Great. Well, thanks for being here today, and look forward to next week. All right. Well, I think that moves on to 10A, board announcements. May 16th, all three board members will be speaking at Rotary. That's posted for noon, May 16th. And then May 24th at 8:45 a.m. Before the board meeting in the courthouse, we'll be doing a ribbon cutting. We'll be doing it in the horseshoe area, so that'll be very fun and exciting as we are press releases to be issued very, very soon about our timelines of going back to the courthouse in May. So we're very excited about that, and looking forward to getting everyone moved and all the processes completed. It'll be a ride. It'll be bumpy, but it's something I know everyone's excited for. Not only our employees, but our entire community. So with that, we're now prepared to do a closed session per Iowa Code Section 21.5, subsection 1K, to review or discuss records which are required or authorized by state or federal law, confidential. We have a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Council before.
Roll call vote, please.
I